the horror or the terror is the fundamental part of yourself. It's something that lies there in yourself, and by coming over that kind of fear, then you find the passion or the will of living. So I think we are saying that by clearing the game, a user will feel kind of relieved or after playing the game. So that's kind of logic of the game. After creation of Silent Hill 2, the reputation from user was quite well. We wanted to make the next version of it. However, since we are dealing with horror, we wanted to express some other horror which didn't appear in a Silent Hill 2. If we say silent horror was presented in the Silent Hill 2, then for Silent Hill 3, we wanted to express a more direct horror, which can be expressed through visual or the sound part of it. We have different main characters, which is a girl. The story wouldn't start from the town of Silent Hill. Like we said, we wanted to create something different from the past series. So basically, we got kind of bored with a main character being 30 years old, middle-aged man. So we wanted to have something different. And during the process of creating the main character, we came up with things like maybe like 40 years middle-aged woman, or like old man, like a Douglas, which appear in the game, like a 60 years old, male. But after having lots of consideration, then we ended up creating young age women for the main character. In general, we just wanted to say this is the most terrifying game ever been made so far. However, if we asked to name which scene that they like the best, the situation in a building where it takes kind of situation change from realistic world into what we call the alternate world.
Yeah, sort of nightmare world, yeah.
Like a nightmare world. And that shows kind of one example that ordinary life suddenly changes into nightmare, or that's where you see the wall start kind of, there's a blood it goes around, and that kind of shows the one of the example that we wanted to say. It is fortunate that our title, Silent Hill series, are evaluated good in European territory. Usually, the way we develop the title is we create the Japanese version first, then English version, with US version, then afterwards European title. The reason we released, we will release European title first is that to meet the wish of a European user, because we know that they want it, so we answer to their. They'd like to thank you for your comments, and well, basically, there's really no technology or any other complicated stuff were involved in creating the level design. Basically, they made the level to make the user feel no stress. They're trying to make a level that the user feels as smooth as possible. Well, we know that Resident Evil is out there before us. So when we create the horror title, the aim was to make something totally different than theirs. If they will show horror through a shocking image, then our stance is to take it from like a psychological aspect. And if they say if they use creatures, then we use kind of nightmare type of kind of contrast. But it's not just a contrast, but we wanted to make something totally different from any other title. So we included the sound, and we wanted to make a visual as realistic as possible, cutting unrealistic polygons, and to make a user feel it is happening as you're playing. And we also included the love of humans. Yes, we would like to do something online. When it comes to the level of psychological horror expressing through online game, we need to have more consideration how it should be, because it's not that simple. The base of the game is yourself alone in the darkness. So how can it be online? So that's the question they are facing right now. The rating restriction in Japan is quite severe or quite restricted. So there's some part they cut it from the game. And one example that I can tell you right now is amputation of hands and the legs. I don't know if it's acceptable here. Mr. Oku told me that he can recommend some books like Jacob's なんて言いました? And maybe the movies from Stanley Kubrick or David Lynch. He read Pono Story. It's a Japanese kind of folktale story, kind of traditional story there in Japan. For Mr. Yamaoka, it's a Eureka Rock. 最近って思ったこのタイトル。
これはね、天通です。もう本当に。すみません、これもうロンドン業をしてきて天通の宣伝してる。
Maybe it would be exaggerating to say or making the PR of other title, but he liked Final Fantasy X2.
X2, yeah.
Very, very much. And,
okay.
なんか喜んでるようなどうしよう。
私は GTA3.
Mr. Oku liked GTA. As you know, Silent Hill includes a lot of riddles, a lot of questions to the users, and there are some users telling them that this is the interpretation that I had, or I understood the way it should be, and then maybe that's the answer for it, which didn't make them realize at the first, but they get the answer from the user instead. Women. Women and the situation, the title will be sold well. And the comments from the user telling your title sucks,